Hey, how you guys doing? It's Nosy Joe here. Welcome back to my channel. We're gonna do something a little bit different today. We're gonna be talking about skateboards instead of motorcycles. Particularly what I wanna talk about is how do you pick a skateboard when you're an old guy and maybe you don't weigh as little as you used to do when you were maybe 13 years old. So guys like me, over 200 pounds, you can't just go ride a new Chinese board that's 7 inches wide and expect it to last. So I've done several things to fix that for myself. I've tried, recreations of old 80s boards. I've tried modern boards. I've tried custom boards. I've kind of landed on custom boards, to be honest, to give away the punchline. But I get a lot of complaints and hear things about custom boards. Ones, they're too big. Well, if they're too big, you just order too big of a board. They're too heavy. Well, that's what I want to talk about today. I'm going to take a series of boards, both mass production made and custom craft made, put them on some scales, kind of figure out what they weigh, per square inch, and see if that's true. Are they really heavy? And even if they are, maybe they're stronger and better in other ways that kind of compensate for that. So that's the point of the discussion today. Hope you enjoy it, and forgive me for getting off the motorcycle kick for a bit. We're going to talk about some skateboards. Baseline sample, we're going to use this Riviera board. This is one of my favorite shapes that's coming out in the last few years. It really has actually an older board shape to it. Not sure, I think it's made in the USA. I can't guarantee that. But let's do some measurements on it. The Riviera is 3.37 pounds, and it measures 33 wide or long by almost 10, so 33 by 9.75, and comes in at 3.37 pounds. So my complaints about this board, again, really like the shape. It does have some stress cracks, but many boards do. But it's very flexy, and I can flex it by hand. So there's really you just really can't get that good ollie out of it when the board's bending all the time. So it never is acted like it's going to break. No stress fractures that are of any depth. They're pretty superficial. But I just never enjoyed riding it because of the flexibility of it, and anyway, it just didn't have any pop, to put it bluntly. So, what are your options? One option is you buy something like this, which is a reproduction of an old board. This is my favorite shape I had as a kid, the Matt Hensley King Size by 8th Street. But this isn't an old board, this is a modern board. It is pressed in the U.S., I think out in California, but made with more modern materials and modern specifications. They tried to recreate the old Hell concave and stuff. I don't really think it has it. It's pretty shallow. Let's see how it weighs. 3.23. This is on the Matt Hensley. We'll find it's a little bit smaller board, 31 in length by 10. So 1/4 inch wider, but a good 2 inches longer. So it is, it makes sense why it's a little bit lighter. Standing on this, it also has a little bit of flex. Concave's acceptable, but it's really not a really good reproduction, in my opinion, of the old 80s boards. So, another option, this is a board I bought a few years ago. It's an old Ron Allen 8th Street board, and the neat thing about it, it's original wood manufactured in the 80s. So I think they had at least pressed these boards back in the 80s on the original molds, which is cool. So it's got the original Hell concave in it, fairly deep. It's got that concave in the tail, which I like. But it's kind of a shorter board, we'll see how it measures up. I also want to mention square edges, which is the old way of doing it. So 3.17 on the Ron Allen. So the lightest board we've measured, but I think we're going to find it's the shortest board we've measured too. Yep, 30 1/4 by 10. So 3.2, but you know, we're not talking a whole lot of range here. If you'd round to a tenth, the Riviera was 3.4, the Hensley king size repo is 3.2, and this one actually would round up to 3.2. So all pretty similar. So another option, instead of trying to buy a recreation of your old board that you liked in the 80s, or just something that is modern made, kind of looks like an 80s board, like the case of the Riviera, is have a custom board maker make your board. So that's what I did here with this Texican board. It's a shape that I kind of came up with, and that's another neat thing about having a custom board maker do it, is you can send them what you want. I made this shape out of paper and sent it to him and told him what I wanted for a wheelbase, and said, hey, I want it on your deep concave mold, and he did that. He also did what he calls the old man edge, which has that squared off edge like that Ron Allen 80s wood board has. So very much a retro board feel, really good concave, got it in the tail as well, has a little bit of nose to it, but not too much. Let's see how it measures out. Looks like I'm on the Texican 3.4 even. So really similar to the Riviera. It's 32 by 10.25. So it's the heaviest board by 0.03, but again, rounding almost identical to the Riviera. It's about an inch shorter of the Riviera, but it's about a ½ inch wider. So I would say this is very comparable to modern mass production boards made in America right now. But you talk about stiff. This is way stiffer, no flex to it. You can tell, I should have put a micrometer on all these, but it's thicker, squared off edges. And really, I think I probably paid 55 or 60 bucks for that Riviera, and I think I paid 85 bucks for this. And got to pick out my graphic and specify it to my liking. So to me, there's really no comparison. Because when you're an old guy, you probably have an extra 20 bucks to get a board made the way you want it, and it's going to last a lot longer. Another local board maker is Life Skateboards. I didn't have this one made. This was something that he had made on his own, and the reason I liked it is it matched up well to the Matt Hensley king size specs. I could just kind of recognize by the shape that it was similar to the king size. So probably the deepest concave of any of them that I looked at today, which I really like that. I don't see any concave in the tail, no foot pocket, but razor straight, no warpage, more rounded edge, which is just a preference thing. Samuel, who owns Life, is a custom cabinet maker and furniture maker, so he works with wood all the time as his full-time job, so making skateboards is no big thing for him. You can definitely see the quality in the board. Everything's just symmetrical, matches. That's going to be a really nice board. Weight on the Life, 3.58. Measures 32 by 10. So an inch from the longest board and amongst the wider measurements, not as thin as the Riviera. Rounded up to 3.6, but yeah, this board, I just unboxed it before the video, so it's been in plastic. As this dries out, what's 1/10 of a pound? So all these are very similar in weight, I think we can say. Only 0.4 from the heaviest to the lightest. And that's measuring modern mass-produced boards to custom crafted boards. So I would not let weight be the deciding factor. When these boards here, I mean, there's just no flex to them, no give, big time pop. To me, there's just no comparison. Spend the extra 20 bucks, have a custom made board that you like and can be proud of, and help directly support somebody's family, as opposed to a whole lot of middleman when you order a board out of a catalog. So that's how I choose to do it. I'd recommend you do the same. Wanted to show, like I said, I picked this board out because I felt like it matched the Hensley king size real well. Samuel's just added a little bit more nose to it, which is going to be popular for most riders anyway. A lot of us a little bit taller now and they want a little bit longer board anyway, but you can see how well that matches up to the old king size Matt Hensley. And again, this board flexes. This board has no flex. So anyway, can't wait to set these up. These are gonna be super nice boards. And really, as I just ride mini ramp in my basement, they can last me years. So with that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you understood the comparison and made that clear. All very comparable boards. You're not going to be riding something a lot more heavy, but you can benefit greatly in strength and pop and feel better about what you're doing when you're supporting a local board maker. With that, until next week, stay safe whether you're riding a motorcycle or riding a skateboard. Later.